everybody. I'm going to answer the 5 waiting wombs topic from, I guess, what was last week on do you discuss infertility, TTC journey with friends and or family. Before I begin, I wanted to welcome a new subscriber to my channel. It's Kim and AJ, so thank you very much for subscribing. I have checked out your channel. I haven't watched any of the videos yet. I've been insanely busy and sick this week, so we'll get to that. I'm very curious. Looks like some good stuff on there. Okay, so question number 1, do you discuss infertility with friends and family, and why not? And my answer is very complicated, and it really depends. I'm very selective with the people who I do open up to. And the people I open up to, I tell them everything. And those are the supportive people in my life, the people who understand unconditional love and boundaries and just how to be supportive without being pushy or selfish or mean, because I've had all of those things happen to me as well. Specifically, it's really interesting. I was thinking about some things that Nicole said and some things that Mickey said in reference to this question. Nicole had mentioned that she, during their first IUI, she and her husband did not say anything because they thought, the BFP would happen and there would be no need to say anything. And then as the situation progressed, of course, after the BFN, they realized quite smartly that you don't know how long this thing is going to go on. You're going to need support, and you can't bottle it up, and we cope by speaking and having support, And in our situation, we told everybody right away once we omitted birth control, because everybody had been waiting for so long, or a lot of people had been waiting for so long. I'm the oldest sibling in my family. I already have nieces who are 8. Both my younger sisters have babies, or children, multiple children. And I just, like Mickey, I come up from a family who does breed like rabbits. Even the one infertile person in my family who had, she'd had 2 children, and then with her next husband had natural conception after 6 months or maybe a year of trying, ended up with twins. So, that's, not really. She's actually been really supportive, thankfully. She's been good, but the rest, most of them aren't so good. There are exceptions. My in-laws, my grandmother, and a few other people who will remain anonymous have been really supportive, and just, they've been good to lean on. But like I say, there are others who are not, and it's interesting because I really admire those who are able to shout about their experience of infertility from the mountaintops to sort of educate people, because you can otherwise be so isolated and people are really ignorant about it, and it's not their fault. They just have never encountered it before, a lot of them. And it's so complicated. How could you? How could you even fathom what it is, And most people, when you do explain it to them, they will come around to really having some compassion for you. And then there are others who are just dicks. So there. And you just best avoid them. And, sadly, I've got too many of those in familial relationships. So. But it's interesting. I will point out that my RE and my primary care think that it's a very, very good idea that I maintain secrecy within my family regarding our next IVF, because it makes me nervous to be asked questions. How's it going? You've ever heard of a kettle that won't boil because it's a watched kettle doesn't boil, or a watched pot doesn't boil. That's how I feel, is that it makes me so nervous that I can't succeed. And then also too, sometimes people do their own research and they come to you all nervous and they start second guessing your doctor or you and some decision you've made. And I really, really can't deal with other people's sort of paranoia about stuff. And not all of it is, but just really don't want to have to explain myself to everybody like that. Because it makes me nervous. The other thing is too, I know that Mickey mentioned that she's got in her family, gossip just kind of travels like wildfire, and unfortunately in my family too, there are people within my family who do gossip, and some of it is just in their minds harmful, and with other people's it's actually very cruel, very mean. And unfortunately my infertility was brought into it that way, and then it was to my face, and that was crushing. And sorry. And so those are reasons why I don't. But we do have a number of friends who I'm happy when they inquire, because they are those people who listen and they don't try to come up with the easy solution, because they know there is not one. They're just there to support and to be leaned on and to give their love and their friendship, and they're just wonderful like that. So the few relatives and the larger number of friends I really, really cherish. And I will say this too, I know that I don't post a lot of videos, and many of my videos in the past have been very short because I was on my phone. And when you record with a phone, you have to be really brief. But what was my point about that? My point was that I really do come here for support, because certain substantial areas of my life do lack it, because I can't go to a lot of the family, and it can't be a normalized conversation. I'm not safe to just, I don't feel emotionally safe to just educate people within my family about it. I come here to talk it out, and I come here to hear you ladies talk it out and hear what you're going through, because that's how I cope. And that's, I initially came here so that I had someone to talk to about it, because I didn't know any other infertile people. And don't get me wrong, my husband is a wonderful support, but like I say, there's just some missing pieces, very sadly, very crushingly. Next question. Excuse me. Do people ask when we're going to start a family? The nasty people within my family still ask. Or the people who aren't necessarily nasty but just can't help themselves. There's kind of both kinds. They still ask, and I just basically say, we don't know, or it's probably never going to happen. And actually, I ran into an uncle I don't see very often, and he asked, and I don't have any ill feelings or feel guarded around him. He asked very honestly, because we haven't seen each other in years, we haven't spoken. He's been very ill, and it's good to see one another. And he asked me in his usual uncle way of, kind of sarcastic and snarky. He asked, so when are you going to get fat? And he looks at my tummy, and I knew what he meant. He was asking when we were going to start a family, because I think he probably knew that, a few years ago we were actively trying. And I said to him, oh, Uncle, I said, it's probably never going to happen. And he just dropped the subject, and I love that about him. He doesn't harp on it. There was another relative nearby, one of the particularly nasty ones, and she kind of tried to pursue it, but I just ignored her at that point. I'm actually more frank with strangers. or people outside my usual social circles or outside my familial circles. There was, excuse me, I'm still sick. There was an attorney who I ran into, who I used to work with, and I hadn't seen him in years. And I asked how his family was doing, specifically his daughter, who's maybe around my age. And he said, I have a very, very unhappy daughter right now. It's her birthday. She's in the hospital, and she just had, an ectopic pregnancy that didn't work out. And I said, I'm so sorry. Can I ask how long they've been trying? And he said, yeah, they've been trying for over 6 months. And, I've been trying for a little over 3 years now, and so I really felt for her, but I felt safe to tell him because he doesn't really run into that many people that, that I would mind knowing. So that's good. And it felt really, really good just to be able to have a normal conversation about it. So refreshing. It was such this huge burden, to just be lifted off, just to be able to have a normal conversation about it with somebody and feel okay that could take place. So yeah, generally strangers, people outside my, certain circles. How do I feel about other infertiles BFPs? I feel better about other infertiles BFPs than I do non-infertiles. Because quite frankly, damn it, these women have been through hell. And just because they get a BFP doesn't mean that they get to keep it. And that's a sad shame to have that kind of letdown. And so for me, I really want to be there for the good times and the bad as a support, because Lord knows I want someone who will be there for me when I'm having a rough time. Yeah, so just because somebody gets their BFP doesn't mean that it's all roses and lollipops and rainbows. I mean, they could have illnesses, complications, loss. So, and generally, too, I find infertiles just, if anyone can be deserving of a child, it's generally the infertiles, so much more than some of the people that have them. Not all of them. There's definitely some people who conceive naturally with no problem who are very deserving parents. Very. And I know some of them. And some of them are incredibly good to talk to, actually, about infertility. Let's see. Do I avoid baby showers? I haven't had one in a while. I am around people who are constantly having babies in my workplace. Lots of people, and they're all on their second ones, and so that's really difficult to see those announcements and pregnant bodies walking around, and pictures being sent via email and stuff. That's really hard for me. But we're work related, so I wouldn't go to their baby showers. I wouldn't be invited. It's not like that. The last baby shower I attended was my best friend's, and I actually helped plan it. She conceived while I was dealing with infertility. It was by accident. I mean, if there can be an accident, like she wasn't planning that. It was an oops. And it was hard for me. It was really hard for me. And after her baby was born, we were finally able to talk about how difficult that was for me. I don't remember how it was brought up, but she said that she knew that I had been jealous and that I had struggled emotionally with seeing her good luck and becoming pregnant without even trying, and then just we were struggling so hard. And she said to me, I would see this look on your face and I didn't know if I should hug you or just remain silent and not say anything. And she was kind of waiting for me to talk about it. And it really endeared her to me that she wasn't put off by the fact that I had some jealousy. And you know, that actually brought us closer. That conversation, when I was actually able to tell her that that I had, you know, jealousy towards her and her circumstances and the ease with which it all came, well, some of it came about. I mean, she had complications and stuff, but it brought us closer. And I know that jealousies can put a wedge between people, and just being able to talk about it made all the difference in the world and actually helped me get past that jealousy. And I was able to, you know, plan the baby shower, and we did a really good job. It was I and some other ladies, some other friends of hers, and we threw a huge co-ed, you know, baby shower, and we played games and we did decorations, and they were blown away by like how many wonderful gifts they got, and just they had a great time. It was awesome. But that's the only baby shower I've really been to in years. It was hard, but I was also really happy for her. So that's that. Yeah, sorry, I almost cried here a couple of times tonight. Some of it's just emotionally raw for me. So, alright everybody, good night.